Obviously, we got to talk about this dump that we had yesterday and basically across stock markets, crypto markets, Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin is still the driver of this crypto market. I've been saying if Bitcoin dumps, these altcoins, a lot of these altcoins will be dumping with it. And yesterday, I've seen quite a bit. I've taken quite a bit of a hit. Uh, as you guys know, that I do trade leverage, and some of my leverage positions did get liquidated. But that is all right. It's not something I have not seen before, and as long as I'm able to bounce back, um, that's all that matters because I've seen these liquidations, and I've been getting better at avoiding liquidations. But yesterday's was just way too steep. But that's all right. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep bringing you guys updates, and we're gonna keep going. What do I think about this bull market? I think it's still on. Let me show you guys later why some of my main arguments I've been talking about are still intact, and we're gonna take a look into the technicals. We're gonna take a look into the charts and see if I can get some early signals to tell me that what lies ahead for Bitcoin and of course the crypto markets. We're gonna be taking a look into news today instead of responding to viewer comments because I think yesterday was a lot driven based on the news because of the possible tariff threats, right, from Trump to China. And we're going to be taking a look into that. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts. Of course, it never feels good to take a hit, but as long as you get back up, um, that's what counts. And what it takes to get back up is to not over leverage yourself. And yeah, just gonna keep going. Just gonna keep going. Let's go ahead and go to the first piece of news. Where we're gonna talk about news, major crypto news, and economics news, as well as a few altcoin setups. Right, we're gonna be taking a look into Peak Network, Moodang, okay, and Launchcoin on Belief. Okay, Launchcoin. One thing I want to point out is that altcoins are actually recovering quite well. Okay, as you guys can see, Bitcoin is actually down almost 1%. Ethereum, I mean, down a little bit. And but Total Three, which is altcoins excluding Ethereum, is actually bouncing back pretty quickly. A lot of these altcoins have bounced back pretty quickly as well. So I mean, could that be a good sign? Going to be taking a look because I think what really matters is still this Bitcoin chart here. Let's go ahead and take a look into the news first before diving into anything else. First piece is by MarketWatch. Morgan Stanley is opening cryptocurrency investments to all clients. Here's what percentage of our portfolio should be in crypto. Now, of course, these are just the author's opinions. But what I take away from this is that Morgan Stanley is opening cryptocurrency investments to all clients. That is gonna open the floodgates for more people to invest in crypto, and I don't see why that is not bullish for crypto, at least in the long term. Okay, at least in the long term. Short term, I mean, a bunch of random stuff could happen. Like yesterday, that was very sudden, right? Let's go ahead and go to the next piece. Next piece here is by Crypto News. Crypto market flips from greed to fear in 24 hours. More crash coming. Yeah, I mean, I don't really pay attention too much to the fear and greed index because it really just depends on where the fear lands. I mean, does the fear land on a higher low trajectory on the technicals? If it does, what I do is I'll look at the potential higher low and see what are the chances of a higher high bouncing back from a higher low there, right? We're going to take a look into the charts later, but I mean, I don't really pay too much attention to the fear and greed index. I pay more attention to the technicals. Let's go ahead and go to next piece, which is by Crypto News. Early Bitcoin whale shorted $1.1 billion right before tariffs, now up $27 million. How did he know? Well, let's go ahead and take a look into a little bit of this, right? Because I think it was more of a surprise to a lot of people, right? Most people. A Satoshi era Bitcoin whale opened over $1.1 billion in short positions against BTC and Ethereum just right before President Donald Trump announced 100% tariffs on Chinese imports, generating an estimated $27 million in unrealized profits as markets crashed. Let's take a look here. I mean, was the date being expected for the tariffs? I don't think I saw really too many people talking about it, if at all, right? So it really did come at a sudden. You guys let me know down in the comment section below, right? Could this whale have just shorted based on the technical setup? Could be. I don't think I see any concrete reason in this text here, right? So it could be because of the technical setup that just paired very well with the news, right? So you guys can read more into this news here, but I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter, right? Let's go ahead and go to the next piece. ZY Crypto, Bitcoin exchange balances at 6-year lows as bull market speeds up. I still think this bull market is on. I am still long on Bitcoin. I am still long on quite a bit of the altcoins here. What I am currently doing now is I am actually stacking up on my leverage positions on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Not financial advice, okay? Because I personally think that Bitcoin needs to recover first before the altcoins, and then Ethereum is going to follow Bitcoin. So that is what I am doing. Of course, these are just what I'm doing and not financial advice. Like the entirety of this video, you guys got to form your own opinions and strategies. Let's go ahead and take a look into. So ZY Crypto never really gives me too much context, but let's go ahead and take a look into just whatever text that's available here. Bitcoin's exchange deposits are currently hovering around 6-year lows as the bull market enters its final stage. I see a lot of analysts talking about different stages of the bull market. I still think we're in the early stages of the bull market. One, because the altcoin markets haven't really broken out yet. Okay, I'm talking about Ethereum. I'm talking about Total 3. If we actually take a look into some of these higher time frames here, Ethereum hasn't even broken out of its 4-year resistance yet. It hasn't really pulled away yet. Neither has Total 3. So, in my opinion, I don't think that we're in the late stages of this bull cycle. I still think there is quite some room to go. What do you guys think? Okay, I know Bitcoin. Another major reason why I think Bitcoin is still has still quite a bit of room to go is because of the RSI on the monthly time frame. We're still nowhere near the monthly RSI readings from back in the previous bull cycles, like in 2021, which had an RSI rating of 91, over 90. 2017, the highest we have been this bull cycle is about just right under 80 here, and currently we're sitting at in right under 70. So that is one reason, one major technical reason why I don't think this bull cycle is near an end yet. I mean, does it have to play out exactly the same way as 2017, 2021? No, but is there anything else that's telling me otherwise? Also, no. I also want to show you guys two of my major arguments on why I don't think this bull cycle is ending yet. It's because the Fed has actually just started its Fed rate cut cycle, okay, back in September. And it looks like based on the CME Watch tool here, we're going to get quite a few more, well, at least 2 more this year, right? I don't know about next year yet, but we're going to have, it looks like we're highly in favor of a rate cut in October, so it doesn't seem like the tariffs have affected these odds. Potentially because we're just having a really bad labor market here, right? As if you guys been seeing the jobs data, December probability is still basically 100%. So I mean, these probabilities can change, but right now it still seems like 2 Fed rate cuts are still on the table, very much for this year. The other thing I want to show you guys is Google Trends search for Bitcoin, and these are weekly data points, and this has been highly correlated with previous bull cycle or bull waves, right? And right now, this indicates me retail interest in crypto, and it is still barely rebounding. So that is a good sign. Okay. So so these are some of the arguments I have for why I'm still bullish on this crypto market. Let's go ahead and go to some altcoins now. Altcoins. First of all, we're going to take a look into Peak Network and see what's happening with Peak Network. I also want to take a look, just discuss one more chart with you guys. This is the Bitcoin chart, okay? What am I looking at for a possible bullish signal here for Bitcoin? I've been mentioning this rising wedge for the longest time, okay? This rising wedge for the longest time, and you guys should be paying attention to rising wedges because they are bearish patterns that have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. We had divergence that's playing out right now, okay? Very dramatic drop yesterday, of course. Now, if what I'm looking for as a bullish signal here is that if the bulls, if this weekly candle actually ends up back into the rising wedge pattern, that tells me this is again another bear trap just like 2 weeks ago. And I mean, does a bear trap potentially, does that necessarily mean that we're going to break out of this pattern to the upside? No, but it is a good sign because if this is a bear trap, that could very likely increase the buying pressure, right, from within this pattern here. And I mean, at least, we're not going to be breaking down from here, at least from this candle here, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I think there's going to be a resolution to this pattern soon as this channel is getting, it's getting pretty tight, right? If this thing actually breaks to the upside, I would still expect a significant bullish move for Bitcoin and quite a bit of the altcoins here. So something to be paying attention to. Let's go ahead and go to altcoins now. Peak Network. See what's happening with Peak Network. This is the weekly time frame. And I talked about Peak Network, this falling wedge pattern, another pattern you guys should be paying attention to if you guys are new to this market. It's very simple to chart. It's very effective. It tells you after an extensive downtrend on that time frame, in this case would be the weekly time frame, that the price action is likely to break out to the upside, and Peak Network did. It had bearish divergence though, however, on this weekly time frame playing out right now. Very important to see Peak Network closing on top of this upper trend line of this pattern here, which would validate this breakout. If it actually closes back into this pattern, that could, I mean, let me see if this is the highest time frame that Peak Network has this pattern validated in. It is, okay? So if it actually does come back into this pattern with the weekly candle close, that would invalidate this pattern because this is the highest time frame. Actually, yeah, this is probably the high. I mean, actually, it's going to be the 3-day time frame. No, I mean, I think I could count this candle here as the third candle. It's close enough, right? This is the highest time frame I see this pattern validated in. If we actually get a weekly candle back within this falling wedge pattern, that would invalidate this breakout. However, if you actually close like this, I would still say that this breakout is still valid, and the price target here will still be about 27 cents price targets. Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less, a lot of which is going to depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping from here, which of course there is still a risk of, then a lot of these altcoin setups, they're not going to matter very much. So pay attention to Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and go to Mudang, which is the meme coin. See what's happening with this coin here. Now, very important, I want to mention that I have invalidated some of these patterns, right, across this video because either the patterns I've mentioned before have been invalidated or their price targets have been met. Okay, so, and I may have also consolidated some of these patterns as well to clear up the charts. So you guys can look at my previous videos for reference if you guys want to learn how I have invalidated these patterns. Now, this is Mudang, and it is now a falling wedge pattern, weekly time frame. Price target, if it breaks out by this point, for example, price target would be for almost about 40 cents Mudang, okay, which is still a pretty big move here. quite a bit of recovery since yesterday. Okay, as I have seen with quite a bit of these altcoins, basically, I mean, if you time the bottom, that would have been a double here, right? But of course, yeah, that's gonna be hard to time, right? Unless you just had a limit order sitting there waiting for these kinds of liquidations. I would. I have done that before, but not for like these long liquidations. Um, and in appropriate times, it would have worked out pretty well. Um, but not this time. I don't. I mean, not for me at least. Let's go ahead and go to Launchcoin. Launchcoin. I want to mention on some of these smaller time frames here, right? 4 hour time frame. Okay, for peak network, there is potential bullish divergence scenario on this 4 hour time frame here. If 4 hour candle closes um, equal or lower low here, right, on these 4 hour time frames, as you guys can see. Bullish divergence and divergence in general, you guys definitely want to learn what they mean because it gives you a higher chance of uh of a reversal. Okay, so also here, right, very oversold 4 hour RSI, and if it comes down to equal or lower lows, very possible bullish divergence. Launchcoin. Let's take a look here. 4 hour time frame, very similar story. Let's take a look into the weekly time frame where there is a falling wedge pattern. Price target for this falling wedge pattern still valid. Breakout still valid. It broke out back on the week of September 8th. Price target would be about 25 cents. It is at the weekly 21 SMA as support. It had a huge week this week. Okay, it went from about anywhere from about almost 14 cents to 4 cents. This is one of the positions where I was leveraged long in and have gotten liquidated. Okay, I'm still looking at this coin for a potential setup and potential positions. Um, just because I've taken some losses, I'm still in profits. It doesn't mean that you know it's gonna be a long game here, right? Continue making improvements. Learn from not over leveraging, and just got to continue going. And I think that's very possible if you don't over leverage yourself, right? So you can actually recover from some of these losses, and there are going to be opportunities coming, especially for this bull markets, and that's what I'm seeing. So let's go ahead and go to the 4 hour time frame here. 4 hour time frame. Like I said, very likely bullish divergence scenario if it comes down to equal or lower lows here. So this is basically what I'm seeing for a lot of these coins here. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of Launchcoin, Moodang, Peak Network, or any other coins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.